Another video on layoffs, YT. Yeah, another one on layoffs. Yo, what up, YouTube? It's your brother YT. Wake 'em up, back at it again with another video. Workers and roles are on the chopping block more than ever before, at least probably in my lifetime, and maybe your lifetime. If you're a Gen X, then you may have seen this before. You might already know how it go. Family, you already know what to do, and if you're brand new too, thumbs up this video so YouTube can push this content out. Smash subscribe to join the tribe, and ring the post notification bell as well. All right, let's get into this video.
560. 560 is the number of days that I have been laid off, that I have been without employment. I have submitted thousands of applications, hired career coaches, reverse recruiters, networked. And to those of you that say, oh, it's going to get better, I don't think it is. I don't think the job market is going to get better.
Today is July 21st, 2025. It should be my 1-year anniversary at the job that I got laid off at 58 days later. Let's talk about it. If you've watched my stuff before, you know that I was laid off twice in a span of 4 months last year. And today was my start date for the second one that I got laid off then very soon after in September. I was really excited about this job. I was so lucky to have landed something like a month after getting laid off and being able to start so soon. It was remote. It was like 50% bump in salary. It was like a senior level role. So I was moving up in the world. I moved to LA, signed a very expensive lease, and then got laid off very shortly after, 58 days after starting to be exact. And it's just really funny to think about like what my life has looked like the last 10 months and like what it would have looked like. There's pros and cons to both. In a way, I'm like both grateful and like sad about it, because obviously who doesn't want like a nice paying job, a cushy, benefit package and all of the things. But I also think too, all of the side hustles and like the ups and downs of the last 10 months. While I'm still on the job search, I have been able to do so much in the last 10 months. It's been a whirlwind. Like I have done Uber Eats. I was a personal assistant. I have done all of the different things. And while some more glamorous than not, like I get to create cool content for cool brands, and I've gotten to meet some really cool people. I learned so much in these 10 months that I don't think I would have learned just working the same job for the last year and kind of going through the same motion on a daily basis. And I don't know, I just think it's funny. I woke up today and I was like, oh my God, it's July 21st. And I'm getting ready for some calls for some contract work that I do. And then I'm going down to OC because I'm doing contract work with a really cool agency. We're having like an office day, and it's like the first time I've ever had like work friends. I've always worked with like older people or just like people in very different stages of life or remotely. And so it's kind of fun, even though it's not full time. I feel like I have like work friends, like we're always texting. We do office days at the founder's house. We shoot content together for different clients. And it's just been so fun. And while by no means is it the cushy 6-figure salary that I would have been making at this tech job that I thought I would be at this point, it's been really cool. It's been super exciting. And I think posting about it has led to some really fun connections and new friends that I've made as well. I don't know, it's just funny. Like I still definitely would love to have a 9-to-5. I'm someone that I want to enjoy the work that I do, but I also kind of work to live at the same time. I love to have that cushy salary and like benefits and PTO and all the things. Now I work like 7 days a week doing whatever it is, and there's no days off. For instance, I'm going home to Minnesota for some weddings and bachelorette parties here soon. I'll be gone for like 18 days, and during those 18 days, like half of my income that I'm usually making now, like I won't be able to do. Some of it I can do online, like the freelance work and things like that. But others, like the dog sitting, which like makes me like $2 to $3 grand a month at least, I won't be able to dog sit. Obviously, I'll be home in Minnesota. So there's like things like that. Like I don't really truly get any PTO. I don't get any benefits. I pay for insurance like out of pocket. Some weeks are slower, some weeks are busier. And so what I make every month is just kind of up to me, and like payment dates and things like that are not consistent with like a regular paycheck on payroll. I love it. I think I'm having so much more fun doing what I'm doing and experiencing so many cool things now because of it. It's just funny to think where I could be. And I think I'd be happy either way. The last 10 months has given me experiences and introduced me to people that I never would have. I'm grateful for that. And so I know I make TikToks on here being all self-deprecating and sad. And there are days where I'm just sad and like feel down about myself. And then there's days where I'm like, holy shit, like my life is so fun. I know I'm usually negative Nelly, but this is your sign that if you've been laid off, if you're in the job hunt, like keep grinding, keep going. Like posting about it has given me a new network. My dog walking like gigs have given me a new network. Like so many experiences that I wouldn't have experienced. And I feel like I'm living the true like LA life. Although every day is kind of up in the air and what it's gonna be and how I'm gonna pay my bills. I'm having so much fun. I'm still on the job search, but this is your sign to like make the most of it. Love you, brokies. We got this. More to come.
It's not time to depend on that one job, that one income. Y'all know the saying, one is too close to none. This is becoming more true than ever. You gotta have a plan A, B, all the way through Z. That's not you being indecisive. That's not you not knowing what it is you wanna do. That's you protecting yourself. If the job asks you, do you have another job? Tell them, yeah, I got to. If you go apply for a job and they ask, do you have another job? Or are you working with one of our competitors? Yeah, for sure. In the back of your mind, you should be like, yep, sure am. If you are. And if you're not, you should be trying to work for their competitors. Because when they fire you, or if they fire you, at least you can go over to the competitor and you can keep the show on the road. You gotta have something else. Another job, some sort of other stream of income, either or.
I'm telling you right now, people, y'all gotta have a plan B, C, D, A, Z, whatever you need to have, right? Working for these companies because they full of shit for real. Like, excuse my French, but they really be playing with people's lives. Like, they really be playing in people's faces for real. Like, really be playing in people's faces. For an example, they can just tell you, look, you gotta take a whole week off with no pay. Yep, they can lay you off. Yes, they can lay you off without a severance. Yes, they can alter your current benefits. Yes, they can quit matching your 401k. Yes, and then your shit just sitting there not accumulating nothing. They can do a lot, and they can just fire you. Because why? You're an expense. You're an operation cost. At the end of the day, if they need to cut back and they need to like cut back their money, if they on the brink of financial ruin, guess who they gonna get rid of first? Guess what they gonna alter first? Guess whose lives they gonna change first? Yo.
So I got laid off today. I was working in accounting for a local CPA firm. I recently graduated with my bachelor's in finance. Will be pursuing my MS in accounting so that way I can sit for the CPA exam. But given that an MS in accounting only requires 12 classes, I was able to work full-time simultaneously. This is something that I just want to touch base on, and I kind of want to make this a series and just share this current season of my life publicly and just be vulnerable and transparent, because I know that this is something that many people are going through, but not many people are publicly discussing this on the internet, which makes so much sense because this is such a vulnerable and traumatic experience even for some. Because I recently graduated, I was living at home with my parents, and so therefore I don't have any bills or large responsibilities, and I was able to save like 19 months worth of an emergency savings, and I've also been aggressively investing towards my retirement since honestly I was 18, just leveraging off of the fact that I did and do have the privilege and blessing of having my parents helping me and just supporting me throughout college and transitioning into my career and, adulthood. By sharing this, I do not want to come off as arrogant or insensitive to people who do fully support themselves or fully rely on themselves or may not have any other cushion outside of themselves. And I just kind of want to shed light on how this can impact people in a multitude of ways, right? So yeah, I just kind of want to make this a series on my journey, my networking experience, kind of things that I already know about corporate politics, and then things that I am learning through, mentor sessions or networking, coffee chats, or my own personal research and what have you. I think when people think of networking, they only think to network during situations like this or when they are about to graduate or when they're just looking for a new job. But networking is a preventative measure as well. You should always be networking and nurturing those relationships that you have within your network as well. You never know, but also it's just good to have these people that are around you that are willing to introduce you to newer ways of thinking, newer opportunities, or just being able to learn and grow from each other as well. So yeah, this is kind of getting long, but I just hope that this series can serve as that for you and kind of also shed light into knowing that you're not alone, and everyone has probably experienced this or might at some point. And don't give up. Like, the only way to guarantee that you will not get what you want out of life is by giving up. Re-strategize, go back to the drawing board as many times as you have to. Take action to be consistent, but do not give up. And if something is not working, then just change the way that you're doing it. Re-strategize, come up with a new routine. But yeah, don't give up, and make sure that you're taking care of your mental health during this time as well. Life is about duality. Your professional career can be taken away like that, but that doesn't mean that you abandon the relationship that you have with yourself or other personal relationships that you have within your life. Be sure to nurture that as best as you can during these times, and be vulnerable and lean in on your community. I am not a vulnerable person. This is my first time being so open and transparent, but I'm just kind of like changing my way of thinking, and I think that sharing this, I just feel called to do so. I think that there is something better that is being rebirthed right now in this season of my life, and I truly do believe that there's something better coming. So I just want to document this, I guess, kind of like as a journey and an experience as well.
Currently, the mass layoffs and forced return to office mandates are getting all the headlines. But the bigger risk and the bigger challenge for Gen Xers looking to remain in corporate is trying to find that next job. It's going to get harder and harder, and the jobs are becoming fewer and fewer to find, right? We've seen the profits over people playbook played out over and over again, which eliminating people. So if you can duck and dodge like the dodgeball, you can keep getting paid for a little bit. But if you do get caught up in one of these layoffs, which is probably inevitable, you're trying to find that next job is going to be extremely difficult because big companies aren't going to be paying, the big salaries to get people to join the company, right? I mean, think about the great flattening, which is these big orgs eliminating middle management roles and consolidation of roles and paying it at the junior level. So if you're counting on, hey, if I can survive this for a while, then get laid off and then find my next job, it's going to get harder. I'm not saying you can't do it, but we're looking at 12 months plus sometimes. And again, I'll come back to what I come back all the time. It's easier to find your first customer right now than it is to find your next job. And again, I was originally leaning just toward Gen X, but looking at, I'll put this Business Insider article up here, across the board, right? If you're Gen Z trying to find an entry-level position, good luck. There's just not going to be any hiring. And if this is your strategy, you will be, I was going to say, you're going to be interviewing a lot, but you won't be, because you're going to be competing against 500 to 600 other folks, and just the ability to find that next job. So I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. And I guess my point with this post is, if that is your strategy, you really need a plan B, especially if you're going to need the income, because it could be a long while before you find that next job. Now, you may be looking at down laddering, which I've done some posts on, where you just pick up a job with less responsibility, less money, but you're probably going to still need to do something else. Like I said, multiple income streams is going to be absolutely your friend. So highly encourage you to follow along for more tips. I've got some videos on how to actually monetize your corporate experience. We have a community of other Gen Xers that are doing this. You can check out my link in my profile. And just as an FYI, I do not DM folks on TikTok. Connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to drop me a message. I'll respond to those there. And as usual, if you're still in corporate, good luck.
So look, and when we say you need multiple streams of income, that could be one stream producing multiple streams of income. Let's say you're a content creator, for example. You have your content making you money. You also could have a subscription service where people pay you monthly, where you get residual income coming in. Like if you have a Discord community, right? Maybe you also have digital products for sale that people can buy, right? Maybe you also do sponsorships and promos, right? That's 4 streams within that one stream. And another thing I want to point out too, for those that might not know this, it seems most people don't know this, or most people are not applying this information. What information are you talking about, YT? Having 7 streams of income. Right now it's urgent. It's not an option. You got earned income, which is what most people have. They're working for income, using their physical, meaning their body, to make money. They're making an hourly wage. That's what most people get. Now, if you have earned income, it is best that you invest that income. Have your money make you money. How can you do that? Well, let me tell you about the other streams of income that you could have. You could have, like we just talked about, profit income. That's income from selling a product or service. Maybe you got a website. You sell your items there. Maybe you have a store on Etsy. You have a Shopify store. Maybe you sell on eBay. You're making a profit from what you're selling. You're buying it for one price and selling it for 2 to 3 times more, for example. Dividend income. This is money that comes from buying shares of a company, for example, like investing into stocks. Capital gains income. This comes from buying and selling assets that increase in value. Royalty income. Let's say you have a YouTube channel and you're getting paid off your streams, or you're a musician and you're getting paid off of your streams, or you're an actor, you're on Tubi, something like that. You get those royalties from people or businesses using your services or streaming your work. You could also have rental income. That's clear as day. You have a property, you rent it out. We gotta open our mind, we gotta try things, we gotta take risks. No risk, no reward. Chances make champions. Either you're gonna be a winner or a loser. Before you learn to win, you have to lose first. You gotta be willing to take those losses, right? All bosses take losses. It's all about bouncing back. Either you're gonna lose some money. That's cool. You can get that back. But the government wants you to lose your life and livelihood with what they got coming. YT, you getting deep, I know.
I got laid off this week, and I'm not smiling because it's funny. I am smiling because it is so incredibly ironic. Settle in for a story time. On Wednesday morning, you might have seen my last post, which I usually do from my car on the way to the office. And it was all about what are the 3 things you need to do if you get laid off? Like, what are the first 3 things you need to do? And then I went to work, and later that day, I got very unexpectedly laid off, along with, unfortunately, some of my colleagues. And that's not even the most ironic part. The most ironic part is that my wife also got laid off this week. Yeah. So you're probably going to see a lot more of me on here, and I might even be speaking a little bit more freely about what it's like to be in corporate America with my HR perspective. And here we are. So happy first day of unemployment.
You cannot convince me that they are not offshoring jobs, white collar jobs, under the guise of AI inefficiency. Not only are they offshoring, but they're just increasing the workload of their current employees. To me right now, AI just seems to be like the latest buzzword that's getting investors excited. It's like major corporate CEOs have just banded together to like create this narrative surrounding AI, and they want people to be concerned. But I genuinely think it's so that people can be okay with the scraps that they give. Scraps in benefits, scraps in pay, and just make you work harder for less. And it's not to say that AI is not a threat, but it's not a threat to the extent at which they are saying that it is. And I think it's very strategic.
Now listen up, to those that are in the job market, putting in thousands of applications. You gotta do less in 2025, not more. When you do more, it seems they don't even want you. They get rid of you. When you do more, it seems they don't hire you, right? When you do more to stand out, you blend in with everybody else because everybody's doing more to stand out. Right now, apparently, this is not coming from me. This is coming from someone else. They're saying do less. She kind of got a point though. Listen, hear her out. I'm gonna roll the clip.
I want you to start giving your interviews 50%. Hi, my name is Beverly. I'm a chief operating officer who's been scaling operations for over a decade in a ton of different fields. And this hack hopefully will help you because I'm so tired of people being freaking mistreated during this hiring process. I need you to put some respect on your name. I need you to do it. Your 50% is their 90%. And here's how you're going to hack this. For example, if you are regularly in interview processes that require you to do presentations, I want you to template that presentation. And then when you are in that next interview process, I want you to swap out the logos and I want you to present the same damn thing. Do not redo presentations for these companies, especially if they are of the same type and the same case study, the same whatever. Just swap out the logos. They will not freaking know. Because the most important thing about you being in that room is being able to speak to what they need you to in relation to your role. You do not need to redo a whole entire thing unless it is so specific. And if it is, here's my next tip. If they give you a uber freaking specific template for your presentation. Then using that template that you have created, I want you to then swap out the absolute need to know and then focus your energy on shining during the discussion portion. I have had many, many, many folks from sales to product to everywhere in between do presentations, and I did not freaking know the difference unless the quality of the presentation wasn't great. And make sure that your template is high quality, it's high resolution, all of that, and then swap out what you need to for these interviews and then focus on showcasing what your knowledge is. Because at the end of the day, what we care about is what you're able to speak to in relation to those case studies, not whether or not the presentation is super judgy unless it specifically matters to that org. And in that case, template it. Make a list of questions for every round that you can ask that are agnostic, meaning that they are not hyper specific to the company until you get to later rounds. Especially using some of my saucy corporate interview questions or any way that you have used them in the past. Mark them down, and then those are the same questions you're going to ask every single interview. And then once you get into the later stages where it's starting to get serious, that is when you integrate research and all of those other things that I've taught on this channel, and I know other creators have as well. But until then, template, template, template. And the third tip is every single email correspondence that you have, I want you to template. Have in your documents a template for the initial outreach, a template for the follow-up, a template for the first round, template for the second round. All you got to do is change the name and change the company. Template all of it, including the thank you emails at the end. Give them your 50%. Template every damn thing you can so that you are able to rest and focus your attention on maximizing those spaces when you do get in those rooms, because you will. And it won't be from you burning yourself out by trying to redo emails, because you will underestimate how much energy goes into crafting an email from scratch, but it does when you're doing 700,000 of them. So protect your piece, template, 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 template. And when I say 50%, I mean 50% of the things that you are doing in this process at this point, template the hell out of them. And then when it gets time for you to be in that room, that is when you crush it. And that's when you nail, because you will, you just need the freaking opportunity. And most of us do not know the freaking difference. As long as it's polished and as long as you're able to speak to whatever it is they're asking you to prepare, save yourself some time, save yourself some energy, and hopefully these tips will help you.
I appreciate everybody that made it to the end of the video. If you made it to the end of the video, comment, I did it. I did it. Comment that. I like to see who made it to the end. As you know, if you made it to the end, that means you are the 1% and you finish the things that you start. Appreciate y'all. Peace to my Hebrew fam. Shalom. I will catch y'all on the next one.